Dude, I swear on everything holy that if someone had told me that accepting a simple ride in the middle of the afternoon was going to turn my life upside down, I would have just stayed home watching TV. But you know, sometimes fate plays these tricks on you that don't even feel real. What I'm about to tell you still gives me chills, and it's been about 3 months since it happened. If you work with kids and you hear this, you might want to reconsider your friendships. And if you're a parent, man, you better pay close attention to what I'm about to say, because what I found in that forgotten bag might be closer to your reality than you think. My name is Rodrigo, I'm 34, and for the past 5 years, I've been driving for a rideshare app in San Francisco. It's not a dream job, but it pays the bills and gives me a flexibility, a regular 9 to 5. Couldn't I have an 8-year-old daughter Manuela who's the light of my life, and an ex-wife who ... Well, let's just leave that part alone. It was a typical Thursday in a California summer, that kind of heat that melts the asphalt. I was in the Castro neighborhood when a ride request popped up on the app. Destination, a private school near the Mission District. Nothing special, a 10-minute ride at most. I pulled up to the curb and saw a woman on the sidewalk. She looked to be in her mid-30s, brown hair tied in a loose bun, dressed simply but neatly, a white blouse and a navy blue midi skirt. She looked exactly like what you'd expect a teacher or a school counselor to look like. She waved when she saw me and got in the car with a friendly smile. "Hi there, Rodrigo." "Right," she said, checking my name on the app. "That's me. And you're Amanda. Thanks for picking me up so quickly." She had a calm way of speaking, a gentle voice that inspired confidence. During the ride, we made small talk, pretty normal. You know, you always end up chatting a bit with passengers. "Do you work at the school?" I asked, since that's where she came from. "Oh, not exactly. I work with early childhood education, but I was in a meeting there today. Pedagogical stuff. You know how it is." "That's cool. I have a little girl, so I know how important your work is." "How old is she?" 8, Manuela. Her smile widened. What a wonderful age. They're discovering the world at that stage. We talked about education, about how different kids are today, all that stuff that a concerned parent talks about. She seemed to really know her stuff, spoke with authority about child development and all that. The ride ended at an apartment building in the marina. She paid through the app, gave me 5 stars on the spot. I saw it on my phone and got out, saying thanks. "Have a good rest of your afternoon, Rodrigo." "You too, Amanda." I drove off, already thinking about the next fare. Business was good that day, and I wanted to make the most of it. It was when I stopped at the first red light that I noticed it. A bag left behind on the back seat. Man, this happens all the time in our line of work. Forgotten phones, wallets, umbrellas, you name it. The protocol is always the same. Contact them through the app and arrange for the return. Simple. I pulled over to a cafe nearby and picked up the bag. It was one of those medium-sized, black faux leather women's bags. Nothing too flashy. I tried to contact her through the app, but the chat function had already expired. That happens when the ride has been over for a while. Damn, I thought, I have to open it and look for some ID to find a phone number or an address. I unzipped the main compartment of the bag, expecting to find a wallet or maybe a lost ID card in the middle of her things. But man, what I saw left me speechless for a few seconds. Right there, on the top layer, was a vibrator. It wasn't small either. It was one of those eye-catching ones, let's say hot pink, too. Next to it, a pair of red fuzzy handcuffs and what looked like a tube of personal lubricant. What the hell? I whispered to myself in the car. I looked around a bit paranoid, as if someone was going to discover what I was looking at. My first instinct was to close the bag right then and get out of there. Like, everyone has their private life, right? It's none of my business what the woman does in her intimate moments. But then I thought, dude, she works with kids and left a bag with this stuff in my car. I still have to return it. I rummaged deeper, trying not to touch the intimate objects. When my hand brushed against something hard, I pulled it out and almost fell out of my car seat. An external hard drive. Black, small, but heavy. Next to it, 3 different thumb drives, one blue, one red, and one silver. Guys, I swear my heart started racing at that moment. It's one thing to find sex toys in someone's bag. It can be embarrassing, but it's normal. Adults do these things. Now the mix of intimate objects with computer equipment in the bag of a person who works with children, that sent my mind down some very dark roads. I sat there for about 5 minutes, just staring at the objects. My head was spinning. What the hell is this? What kind of material could be on these drives? Why does she need so much digital storage? You who are listening to this might be thinking, dude, you're jumping to conclusions. It could be her work, photos, documents, anything. And I really wanted to think that. I really did. But there was something there that didn't add up. First, why would someone carry external hard drives in a bag, along with sex toys? Second, why 3 different thumb drives? And third, and this bothered me the most, she had talked about working with kids with a seemingly genuine affection. But now I was seeing a side of her that didn't match that image at all. I grabbed my phone and tried to call the app support to see if they could give me her contact info. But you know how it is. privacy policy, data protection, all that stuff. They weren't going to give me any information. I sat there in the cafe parking lot, debating with myself. Return the bag without asking any questions, or take a quick peek at what was on those devices. You're probably thinking, Rodrigo, that's an invasion of privacy. And you're right. But man, when you have a young daughter and you come across a situation like this, the parental paranoia is louder. What if there was something wrong there? What if I returned the bag without knowing and later found out that I could have prevented something bad from happening? I decided to go home. I'd turn on my computer, take a quick look just to put my mind at ease, and then figure out a way to return the bag to Amanda. The drive to my apartment in the Hitoshberry never felt so long. The bag was on the passenger seat, and I looked at it at every red light, like it was a bomb about to explode. When I got home, I sat down at the living room table where I used my laptop to work on the app spreadsheets, tracking earnings, all that driver stuff. I connected the external hard drive and waited for it to load. What appeared on the screen made my blood run cold. Dozens of folders with names that were clearly of children. Maria_Jones_ 7 years old. John_Smith_ 9 years old. Anna_Miller_ 6 years old. Man, I felt a knot in my stomach that almost made me throw up right there. I opened one of the folders with a trembling hand. Photos, lots of photos, but it wasn't what I was expecting or fearing. They were normal photos. Kids playing, in a classroom, on the school playground, some even with their parents. That's weird, I thought. They're just normal photos. But then I noticed the details. All the photos had one thing in common. They were taken from a distance, sort of hidden, as if someone was watching and taking pictures without being noticed. And there was more. Each folder had a text file with information about the child. I opened one of them randomly. Anna_Miller_info.txt, 6 years old. Attends St. Joseph's School. Father, Carlos Miller, dentist. Mother, Patricia Miller, lawyer. Lives on Maple Street, 234, in Pacific Heights. Routine: Monday and Wednesday swim practice at the Olympic Club. Tuesday and Thursday English class at EF. Likes Disney princess dolls. Afraid of clowns. Parents argue a lot. Guys, this was a complete dossier on the girl. Routine: fears, personal information about her parents, address, ... everything. I grabbed another file. John_Smith_info.txt, 9 years old, shy, few friends, divorced parents, lives with his mom in the financial district, visits his dad on weekends, likes video games and soccer. His mom works late, he's home alone from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. This was making me sick. Each file was more detailed than the last. It looked like an investigation, as if someone was studying these kids, mapping their lives, looking for vulnerabilities. I looked at the thumb drives. Was there more? I connected the first one, the blue one. More of the same. Folders with kids' names, more photos, more information. But this one had something extra. Videos. Man, I almost couldn't watch. It wasn't anything explicit, thank God, but they were videos of kids in intimate moments of their lives, playing alone in their rooms, talking with friends at recess, some even taking a bath filmed from a distance, through the window. My daughter is 8 years old. Seeing those images made me think of Manuela, and I felt a rage I had never felt in my life. I connected the second thumb drive, the red one. This one was different. It had conversations, screenshots of text, Telegram, social media, conversations between Amanda and other people, planning approaches to families. One of the conversations was with someone identified only as M. How's Anna Miller's family? Amanda. Parents argue a lot. Mom is lonely, dad is absent. Easy to win their trust. M. Perfect. Can you get access to the house? Amanda. I already offered to babysit her a few afternoons. The mom is desperate for help and excellent work. When do you think we can move forward? Amanda. Another 2 weeks. I need to be sure they trust me completely. Guys, I was reading about a child grooming scheme. Amanda wasn't a preschool teacher. She was a predator who infiltrated families' lives to get access to kids. And the worst part, she had talked about my daughter during our conversation in the car. Asked her age, commented on the stage. She was at, could it be? I rushed to the last thumb drive, the silver one, with my heart beating uncontrollably. This was the heaviest of them all, literally and figuratively. Explicit photos, videos that I couldn't watch for more than a few seconds, material that clearly involved children in situations. Man, I can't even talk about it properly. And there was more. A network. Names, phone numbers, addresses of other people involved. Buyers, other suppliers, intermediaries. It was a large, professional, organized operation. But what made my world fall apart was the last file I found. An Excel spreadsheet titled Targets_SF_2024. There was my daughter's name. Manuela_Santos_, 8 years old. Father, is a rideshare driver, divorced, vulnerable. First approach, August 22, 2024. August 22nd, the day of the ride. She hadn't forgotten the bag. She had left it on purpose. Amanda knew where I lived. She knew my full name. She knew about my daughter. And now she knew I had discovered everything. I grabbed my phone with trembling hands and called Manuela's ex-wife. Claudia, where's Manu? At school. Why? You sound weird. For God's sake, go get her now. Now Claudia. Rodrigo, what's with the crazy talk? I'll explain later. Please, trust me. Go get our daughter and don't let her leave the house for anything. I'm on my way over. I hung up and ran out of the house. I took the bag with me now, it was evidence. But first, I needed to make sure my daughter was safe. On the way, my head wouldn't stop. How had she gotten my personal information? How did she know where I lived? And how many other families were in the crosshairs of this scheme? Arriving at Claudia's house, I found her at the gate with Manu. My daughter came running to hug me, without any idea of the danger she had been in. Daddy, why was Mommy so nervous? Nothing much, Princess. Daddy just wanted to see you. Claudia pulled me aside. Now, what is this all about? I told her everything, every detail. I watched her face turn pale as I spoke. My God, Rodrigo. We have to call the police. I know, but what if she suspects we found out? What if she runs away? And what if all these people disappear and keep doing this to other kids? That's when I made the riskiest decision of my life. I was going to pretend I hadn't seen anything. I was going to return the bag to Amanda and try to find out more about her network before reporting her. Are you insane? Claudia yelled. That woman is dangerous. That's exactly why. If I turn her in now, they'll only arrest her. But the scheme will continue. How many other kids will suffer? I left Manuela with Claudia and went back home. I spent the whole night copying everything from the devices onto my own hard drive, erasing my traces on her computer. If I was going to do this, I had to do it right. The next day, I sent a message to Amanda through the app, pretending I had just found the bag. Hi Amanda, you left a bag in my car yesterday. Can I return it? Today, the reply came in seconds. Hi Rodrigo. Oh my God, I didn't even notice. Thank you so much. Can you meet me at the same place as yesterday at 3 p.m.? We arranged the meeting. I was nervous as hell, but I had to act normal. The lives of many children could depend on it. I arrived at the meeting point at 3 p.m. sharp. Amanda was already there, in the same unassuming clothes as before. But now I saw her with different eyes. Every smile from her disgusted me. Rodrigo, you're an angel. I was desperate looking for this bag. Don't worry about it. I apologize for the delay. I only discovered it this morning. I handed the bag to her. Our eyes met for a second, and I was sure she was analyzing me, trying to figure out if I had tampered with anything. I hope it wasn't inconvenient for you, she said, slightly opening the bag to check the contents. Not at all. These things happen. You seem nervous. Are you okay? Damn, she had noticed? Oh, I just had some family issues. Yesterday, my ex-wife, you know how it is. Her smile relaxed. I understand perfectly. Divorce is always complicated, even more so with a child in the middle. Yeah, Manu gets caught in the crossfire sometimes. 8 years old, isn't she? A difficult age to deal with your parents' separation. She remembered. Of course she did. Look, she continued, I work a lot with kids who go through family traumas. If you ever think Manu needs to talk to someone, ... double quotes, she handed me a card. Amanda Silva, Specialized Child Therapy. I took the card, wanting to tear it up in her face, but I kept my composure. Thanks, I'll think about it. Sometimes parents get so worried about solving their own problems that they don't realize how much the kids are suffering, she said, looking me directly in the eyes. It was a threat, subtle, but it was. Well, I have to go, she said. Thanks again, Rodrigo. You're a very special person. She walked away, and I stood there, feeling like I had just made a deal with the devil. That night, I called a friend of mine, Fabian, who's a detective with the SFPD. We arranged to meet the next day in a discreet place. Fabian, I need your help with something very serious. I told him everything. I showed him the copies I had made of the files. I watched him turn pale as he analyzed the material. Damn, Rodrigo, this is some heavy stuff. You should have called me yesterday. I know, but what about now? What do you think? I think you've gotten yourself into a gigantic mess. This woman doesn't work alone. Man, this is organized crime. He analyzed the files for another hour. Look, I'm going to pass this on to the Special Victims Unit, but it'll take time to set up an operation. In the meantime, you can't give anything away. If these people get suspicious, what about my daughter? Change her school today, and be careful. This Amanda already knows who you are. I left there more worried than when I arrived. Fabian was right. I had gotten myself into something much bigger than I imagined. In the following days, I did exactly what he said. I took Manuela out of her old school and put her in another one, on the other side of the city. I explained to Claudia that it was temporary until things calmed down, but Amanda hadn't given up on me. 3 days after I returned the bag, I received a text message on WhatsApp from an unknown number. Hi Rodrigo, it's Amanda. I got your number from a mutual friend. I wanted to invite you to something. My heart pounded. Hi Amanda, what kind of invitation? I'm organizing a charity event for underprivileged kids. I thought you might be interested. It's tomorrow night, at a space here in the Presidio. She was luring me into a trap. I was sure of it. Interesting. What kind of event? A charity dinner. Several families will be there with their kids. It's to raise funds for an NGO that works with early childhood education. Kids, of course. Can I bring Manu? Of course. That would be great. She'll love it. There are several activities planned for the kids. That was it. She wanted to lure Manu to a controlled place, away from home, with other kids. I immediately called Fabian. Dude, Amanda invited me to an event. I think it's the police's chance to catch them in the act. Are you crazy? You are not taking your daughter to that thing? Of course not. But I can go alone. With a mic, record everything. Rodrigo, forget about it. Let the professionals do their job. But I couldn't wait. Every day that passed, more kids were at risk. I decided to act on my own. I replied to Amanda, sounds good. I'll leave Manu with her mom and come alone. What time? 8 p.m. I'll send you the address. On the night of the event, I got ready and left the house with a small recorder hidden in my shirt. I had told Fabian where I would be if things went wrong. At least he would know where to look for me. The address she sent was for a renovated warehouse in the Presidio. From the outside, it looked like a normal event space. Cars at the door, people moving around. It looked legitimate. I went inside and was greeted by a smiling Amanda. Rodrigo, so glad you came. Where's Manu? Oh, she came down with a fever today. Her mom thought it was better not to bring her. I saw a shadow pass over her face, but the smile quickly returned. That's a shame, but I'm glad you came anyway. The place was full of adults, mostly men, all well-dressed. I saw a few kids scattered around playing, seeming at ease. But something in the air wasn't right. Amanda introduced me to some people. This is Rodrigo, the driver I told you about. An older man, in an expensive suit, shook my hand. Amanda spoke highly of you, said you're a dedicated father. I try to be, and your daughter. Didn't she come tonight? She's sick. I saw him exchange a look with Amanda. The night was strange. People asked too many questions about Manu, where she went to school now, about our routine. I answered with half-truths, trying not to arouse suspicion. Around 10 p.m., Amanda called me over to the side. Rodrigo, can I show you something? She led me to a room at the back of the warehouse. Inside, there were computers, filming equipment, and my God, it was a studio. A studio for producing child pornography. Impressive, isn't it? She said, closing the door behind us. I don't understand. Of course you do. Rodrigo, you saw what was in my bag, didn't you? I felt my blood run. Cold. What are you talking about? Don't treat me like an idiot. You opened everything. You saw the files, the photos, the videos. She was 3 feet away from me, and I realized there was no way out. Rodrigo, you have two options. Either you join us, or you become a problem that needs to be solved. Amanda, I don't want trouble with anyone. I just returned your bag and you copied everything before you returned it. Did you think I wouldn't notice? How did she know? The hard drive you connected leaves traces, darling. You're not the first curious driver we've come across. Other drivers, did you think it was a coincidence that I left the bag in your car? Rodrigo, you were chosen. Single father, needs money, daughter is at the right age, ... Double quotes. The nausea came back with full force. We know everything about you. Where you live, where you work, where your daughter goes to school now. And we know you have our material copied on your computer. It was blackmail. If I reported them, they would say I was involved too. What do you want? Simple. You continue working as a driver, but now you work for us too. You pick up special clients, take them to specific places, and every once in a while, you bring your daughter to some ... events. Never Rodrigo, she said, pulling out her phone. An anonymous tip to the police saying there's a rideshare driver with pedophilic material on his computer. Do you think they'll believe your side of the story? I was cornered. If I agreed, my daughter would become a victim. If I refused, I would become a suspect and they would continue hunting other kids. I need to think. You have 24 hours. Tomorrow night you'll give me an answer. I left there destroyed. I got home and stayed up all night, trying to think of a way out. In the morning, I called Fabian. Dude, I need to tell you something. I went to the event last night. You did what? I told him everything. The blackmail, the studio, the threats. Rodrigo, you've complicated everything. Now they know that you know. So what do I do? Come here now. We'll have to speed up the operation. At the precinct, Fabian introduced me to the detective in charge of the case, Detective Miller. Your friend gave us some very valuable material. Rodrigo, we've already identified at least 15 people involved in this network. And my daughter, she'll be safe. But you'll have to cooperate with the operation. How? You'll accept their proposal. But you'll be using our equipment. We'll monitor everything. It was dangerous, but it was the only chance to arrest everyone and protect other kids. That night, I called Amanda. Amanda, it's Rodrigo. I'll work with you guys. I knew you were smart. Tomorrow, you'll do your first special ride. The next day, I met her at a gas station. She handed me a different phone and a list of addresses. "You only use this phone for our jobs. When you get a message, just follow the instructions." What she didn't know was that the police had access to all the messages on that phone. For 2 weeks, I was part of the scheme. I drove men to houses where the meetings happened, picked up kids at specific points, transported equipment. Each ride made me sicker, but I knew I was helping the police map the entire operation. It was on a Thursday that everything went wrong. I received a message on their phone. "Pick up special package. Address, Blossom Street, 157, in Presidio Heights." When I got to the address, I almost had a heart attack. It was Anna Miller's house, the girl from the file I had seen. Amanda was at the door with the child by the hand. "Rodrigo, right on time. Anna is going for a little drive with us." The girl looked scared, but Amanda spoke to her gently, as if she were a beloved aunt. "Anna, this is Uncle Rodrigo. He's going to take us to a really fun place." It was at that moment that I knew I couldn't keep pretending anymore. Police operation or not, I was not going to be responsible for putting a child in danger. "Amanda, I need to use the bathroom real quick before we go." I went inside the house. Hannah's mom had let Amanda in, trusting her completely and discreetly called Fabian. "It's now," I whispered on the phone. "Blossom Street, 157. They're taking the girl. Hold tight. Team is on the way." I went back to the living room. Amanda was showing Anna some toys, who already seemed more cheerful. "Uncle Rodrigo," Aunt Amanda said, "we're going to a place with a pool." My heart broke. The innocence of that child, unaware of the danger she was in. "That's right, Anna. It's going to be great." The three of us went out. I put Anna in the back seat and Amanda in the front. During the drive, she gave me the address, a ranch in the metropolitan area of San Francisco. "Rodrigo, you're very tense today. Relax, it's just another job. It's just the first time I'm driving a kid. You'll get used to it. People pay very well for this kind of special service." Every word from her disgusted me more. In the rearview mirror, I saw Anna playing with a little tablet that Amanda had given her, completely oblivious to what was happening. When we were getting close to the ranch, I saw in the rearview mirror police cars starting to follow us from a distance. The plan was working. "Turn right there," Amanda instructed. It was a dirt road, isolated, perfect for those who didn't want to be bothered. As we approached the ranch gate, I saw more cars parked, at least 5 or 6. "Lots of people today," I commented. "Special event. Anna's going to be the star of the party." Amanda said this, looking at the child with a smile that gave me the creeps. I stopped the car in front of the gate. A man came to open it, a big, muscular guy who was clearly there for security. Amanda and our special guest. He approached the back window to talk to Anna. "Hi, princess, ready to have fun?" That's when everything happened very quickly. The sound of tires squealing on the dirt, police cars surrounding the ranch, sirens, shouts of police, nobody move. Amanda looked at me with pure hatred. "You son of a bitch, you turned us in." The big man tried to run, but was tackled by 2 officers before he even took 10 steps. Amanda tried to grab Anna, but I blocked her with my arm. "Get out of the car." Amanda, slowly. "Rodrigo, you don't know what you've done. This organization is bigger than you can imagine. They'll come after you and your daughter. Not if I turn all of you in first." Whole operation lasted less than 10 minutes. They arrested Amanda, the security guy, and 4 more men who were inside the ranch. Anna was handed over to a social worker who was already on her way. At the ranch, the police found a real studio for producing child pornography. Computers, professional cameras, staged sets. It was much worse than I had imagined. Fabian pulled me aside. "Rodrigo, you saved this girl and probably dozens of others." But Amanda wasn't lying. "This is an international network. There are powerful people involved." "What does that mean?" "It means that you and your family will have to enter the witness protection program for a while." In the following months, we stayed in a safe house in San Diego. Me, Claudia, and Manu. It was strange, being away from everything and everyone, but at least my daughter was safe. The investigation revealed even worse things than I had discovered. The network operated in at least 5 states, had clients abroad, and moved millions of dollars a year. Amanda was just a small piece in a much larger machine. During the interrogations, she tried to incriminate me, said I was a client of theirs, that I had specifically asked for Anna. But the recordings the police had made proved that I was cooperating with the investigation. The trial was a circus. Expensive lawyers, attempts at intimidation, offers of money for me to change my version of the facts. But I stood my ground. Every time I looked at my daughter, I remembered why I was doing it. Amanda was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The others involved received sentences that ranged from 15 to 30 years. But I know there are many more people out there continuing this horror. We returned to San Francisco after 6 months. I changed professions. I couldn't drive anymore without remembering everything that had happened. Today, I work as a security guard at a mall. I make less, but I sleep soundly. Manu grew up without knowing the details of what happened. To her, it was just a time when we lived in a different house, and that's how it should be. but I changed. Any adult who gets too close to her makes me alert. Any suspicious invitation, anyone who shows too much interest in kids, I keep an eye out, because I discovered that evil sometimes comes disguised as kindness. It comes with a smile on its face, with gentle words, pretending to be people who want to help. If you have kids and you're listening to this story, pay attention. 2. Who gets close to them? Asks too many questions about your routine. Offers to help for no apparent reason. Wants to be alone with the child. And if one day you find yourself in a situation similar to mine, don't hesitate. Report it. Go to the police. Don't try to solve it alone, as I did at first. This story taught me that sometimes we have to make difficult decisions to protect those we love, and that behind an apparently normal person, the worst kind of monster can be hiding. The forgotten bag changed my life forever, but it also saved the lives of many children. And in the end, it was worth every sleepless night, every threat I received, every moment of fear I went through. Because there are things in life that are more important than our own safety, and protecting children is one of them. Today, whenever I see my daughter smiling, playing, just being a kid, I remember that she could have been another victim of this network, and I thank God for giving me the courage to do the right thing, even when everything seemed to be going wrong. If this story touched you, share it with other parents, because information is protection, and the more people know that these monsters exist and how they act, the harder it will be for them to make other victims. Amanda may be in prison, but I know there are dozens of other Amandas out there, looking for vulnerable families, defenseless children, inattentive parents. Don't let them find you, and if they do, fight. Fight like your child's life depends on it, because it just might.